I'm a man. I'm 40.
Well, I'm the best corner in the game. When you try me with a sorry receiver like Crabtree, that's the result you're going to be.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
If you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
I mean, listen, we talking about practice.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the next episode of the Are We Recording podcast. As usual, I'm Ryan Batty Smalls, straight out of Chi-Town, here with you with a bunch of my friends. Bradley,
what's up, man?
How you doing today, bud?
I'm sick, but you know I got to deliver the people the podcast, so I'm here.
That's
to
true.
Talk some sports.
There it is. I like to hear that. Chris, Portland, Oregon. How are you?
Speaking of delivery, is anybody hungry? Or are we all tired of that skit?
Oh, God.
What?
From the Oscars last night.
It went on and on and on.
I thought Ellen did a good job, but I'll get to that in a minute.
I thought she did a good job, too, but the pizza thing was a bit much.
Okay, I could see that.
I'd bang Ellen.
Jet, I don't think she'd want to bang you, though.
That's
the issue at hand.
That was totally the point of that, I bet. Was bang Ellen.
Speaking of, straight from Nebraska, where last week we found out they barely have internet. Ryan, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing all right. The internet here is fine. It's this one specific ISP that has been causing me some problems. I don't know what's going on with it, but
oh God,
making me angry and upset here because I'm not paying $50 some odd to be dropping in and out of.
That's right. Let them know. Let them know.
Well, they'll probably fire back with, you should stop downloading movies and stuff, and I'll be like, that's my right as an American.
Movies.
Nailed it. Movies. Real good movies. Josh, what's up, buddy?
I'm good. I'm giving a shout out again to my main man, Ricky Davis. I just learned that he is in the D League from a Grantland article. Exactly.
The Ricky Davis?
Shout out to Iowa basketball.
The Ricky Davis that I know?
Yeah. He's part of the Erie Bayhawks, I guess. I just saw the article and his name in the D League, and I had to take a double glance. I had no idea he was still playing.
I didn't even think he was allowed at an LA Fitness to play basketball anymore. All right, what we recorded this week, everyone's second favorite segment. Here's a free preview to keep the kids sticking around. There will be a Brian's Bad Joke segment today. But that is for later. Chris, what did we record this week?
I've kind of been recording something over most of the season, which is the drastic imbalance of who is tanking in the NBA. And it is heavily in favor of the Eastern Conference, with Minnesota sitting at 500 in the West. They are 10th. They're 5 games back of a playoff spot. They would be in 6th place tied for 6th place in the East with Brooklyn.
That Philly is running out the worst roster in the history of rosters.
And they still have a 3-game lead on Milwaukee.
Unbelievable. And Milwaukee was trying this year too. They signed guys to try and win. That was weird. Ryan, what did you record?
Larry Drew, by the way.
No. Oh no.
He sucks.
Where did that come from?
Because his rosters and lineups are terrible, but that's beside the point. What did you record today, Ryan, or this week?
What I got recorded is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers unveiling some nasty uniforms for this coming year.
In a bad way, right?
Yeah, this is not nasty in the sense that, the young hip kids are saying it. This is in the sense
the young hip kids! Our demographic, our target demographic here.
Yeah. This is in the sense of just gaudy, disgusting, no good. I mean, I know the best way to describe or the best way to talk about a new uniform is to talk about it with no pictures and just give a text description, but that's what you're going to get. If you haven't seen them, they unveiled the helmet about 2 weeks ago or so. It's basically the Boise State helmet with the oversized horse. Instead of that, though, you have the Buccaneer flag on both sides. The helmet I actually am not I don't.
It's like
I
the
don't
same
hate it
thing,
that
but just
much.
a bigger logo. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
it's just a bigger logo, and the face mask is kind of chrome looking. But these uniforms, they're like a bad Seattle Seahawks ripoff. It looks like something that belongs in the XFL.
It was like the numbers look like a digital readout.
If you like staring at an alarm clock, you're gonna love these uniforms because the numbers look like they're straight off an alarm clock. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have such a great like color scheme with the pewter, and now it just looks like regular brown that's just been kind of diluted. They kind of tried to bring back the orange, and it just doesn't work. Everything just kind of looks thrown together, and it doesn't.
They need to bring back the creamsicles.
Ew! No, they don't.
Don't say ooh to that.
I like the creamsicles, not full time, but the problem I have with it is that Tampa Bay had a really good set before this. Really, it could have used some tweaks, but other than that, I mean,
Nike's going to continue to do that with every other team. Eventually, it's going to suck.
They won't ever touch the Bears uniforms. That's for sure.
No,
Or the Packers.
you'll see the classic ones are going to change, but they're going to try and put a new, most teams they can like in new uniforms. But yeah, I mean, I hope they don't touch the good majority of them. There's some that need to be tweaked because you got some teams still running, like the Cardinals could probably use a tweaking. And but other than that, I think I like most of the way the teams look. I think the Panthers have one of the best classic yet modern looks out there, and they haven't changed uniforms once.
What does that even mean?
Well, they have like a classic look. They kind of have the USC shoulder stripes, but they use the neon blue. So
neon blue. All right.
So it looks pretty modern.
Huh.
I mean, I think they look pretty good. I mean,
to each his own.
Every team should just go back to what they wore in like the late '80s, early '90s, and everything would be better. But
I don't know about
Giants
that.
Definitely should.
That's one man's opinion.
Speaking of one man's opinion.
Yeah, I recorded Wichita State Shockers' first undefeated regular season since 10 years ago, St. Joe Hawks. I think St. Joseph's had more NBA talent. This team, I mean, they play great defense. They play mad as has been on TV, on SportsCenter and all that. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know how far they can make it in the tournament, but 31-0 is hard to argue with.
I think we can probably save our thoughts for our tournament special that we're going to do, but
for sure.
Quickly on that, they're going to get upset earlier than they think that they're going to. But anyways, I digress.
I recorded this week. I recorded Joakim Noah recording his fifth
Chi-Town?
career. Yes, that's what's up. His fifth career triple-double against the Knicks. I think he was 2 rebounds away in the first half from the triple-double. But he's so much fun to watch passing-wise for a center to do what he does. It's the whole offense is running to him now, which is awesome.
New age Bill Walton.
Yeah.
He's great.
And,
defense.
Yeah, exactly. He's got it all. It's helping our All-NBA pick we had earlier. I
don't think it's even a question that he's. I mean, he's in the first-team center right now.
Yeah,
there's no question about it.
No lower than second. But I also, anyone who hasn't seen the celebration reaction with Tony Snell and Joakim Noah, you got to go check it out. Joakim Noah went up for a shoulder bump, and Snell did not have anything to do with it, and Noah was not a happy fan.
God, that was great.
Awesome. I loved it. I love Joakim.
You know what I love about Noah right now is right now, this year, last year, and probably next year is like his peak, and this is pretty much everything that, if you gave him best case scenario coming out of college of what he could become, he's it right now. He met if not exceeded the joke. You know how when you got college kids, you look at Wiggins and you look at what he could be if he put everything together.
Yeah.
Obviously that's a much higher ceiling than Noah ever had, but Noah he's becoming the complete Joakim Noah player.
It's nice to watch, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I agree totally with that. I recorded the Oscars were Sunday night. Not a lot of upsets. It was kind of chalk across the board. Usually they throw one little shocker in there. I don't know what Leo has to do anymore to get that Best Actor statue. I really don't know. When somebody tells me what more he needs to do, I would love to hear it.
He needs to go up against some not so, he needs to go up against a year that doesn't have so many good nominees. I mean, if you look at all his nominations, there's only one true upset in there, like one that he should have totally won. But other than that, I mean, it's hard to argue that he's like he's the best every year.
But that's the thing is, do you think it's more or less like we don't need to recognize you because everyone already knows? Like, is it that type of thing? Like, there's no big press coming from Leo getting a Best Actor.
I don't think they're actively going to just give him an award just for the sake of giving him an award.
If his name was Meryl Streep, he'd have one already. That's all I gotta say.
Well, here's the thing is, I bet if you went on the street and asked 20 people, does Leonardo, I guess not right now because more people know about it now, but like 4 months ago, if you went on 20 people on the street and asked them, does Leonardo DiCaprio have a Best Actor Oscar? How many do you think say yes?
I would have said yes. I mean, I figured he did for sure. 17 of the 20 people say yes, right? Yeah.
It's crazy that he doesn't have one. It's insane.
Boo-hoo.
Don't give me that. Boo-hoo. Do not give me that. Don't even start with it. Like Chris, I will point out, Chris was saying earlier, I thought Ellen did a good job hosting. She was just very, she seemed comfortable. She seemed like she was just like, okay. She wasn't like trying too hard. She was just kind of hanging out, being Ellen DeGeneres, I thought. Did anybody else have any comment on her before I get to everyone's favorite segment?
I didn't even watch the Oscars, so.
Oh, well, some help you are. All right.
My top 3 Oscars are Oscar Taveras, Oscar De La Hoya, and Oscar the Grouch. So
thank you.
What about Oscar Pistorius?
He doesn't have a leg to stand on in that.
Bang, bang,
bang, bang. Easy there.
That's something that he does too. Is bang, bang, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He has no legs to stand on in the courtroom, man.
Hey.
All right. Good segue.
Those are podcast good jokes.
That was, and now on to the bad joke of the night. Can I get a little drum roll, please, from everyone? An improv drum roll.
There's no participation this time.
Crowd participation. Everybody, give me a drum right now. Go.
I probably
for the Brian's bad joke of the night. Keep it going, guys. What the hell's wrong with you? You guys
have a broken hand, so.
Oh, don't. Okay, so do I.
Let's hear it.
I bet when the Landscaping Association of America found out they couldn't name their award the Oscars, they got pretty pissed.
That was I think that was better than the last couple ones.
I don't know. I mean, I still think my Will Clapp one didn't get enough love, but there was that one for tonight. That ends Brian's bad joke.
You're just like Shakespeare in that you're not appreciated in your own time, man.
That's what I'm saying.
It's the work of a genius.
Right. I feel like in like 30 years when these podcasts are being listened to, I feel like they'll be like, wow, man, that Brian guy, he sure was funny. Boy, he sure was a jokester, that Brian guy. Right? I could see that.
No doubt.
Definitely. All right, Ryan, you had something you wanted to introduce to the group here. Let's hear what you were pining for this backstage.
Oh yeah, I have a little something called the hot hand theory. At the 8th annual MIT Sloan Sports Analytics Conference, which is held in Boston every year, they bring together some of the advanced statistics community of both sports and the education people together to discuss common areas where they can kind of benefit from each other's, raw data amounts and measure athletes at the highest level. And 2 Harvard researchers looked at whether or not, there's a likelihood of a player hitting his next shot after making a few in a row. And they concluded that the hot hand theory does exist, and that once you adjust things like difficulty, range, proximity of nearest defenders, and stuff like that, that it is more likely for a player to hit a shot after he started making a few in a row, and that not only is it just in players' heads where, I'm hot, I'm going to take the next shot, but there's now the data behind that to prove it. Whether it's not, it's nothing overwhelming like, if you make a shot, the probability of your next one going in goes up, by a huge amount. But it is somewhat statistically proven now that you can, once you start getting on a roll, it kind of comes easier to you now. So maybe a guy like J.R. Smith, when in his post-game press conference, he's like, yeah, I took 20 shots, but statistically, it's better for me after I started taking a couple.
He can't pronounce that word. Let's be honest. He cannot pronounce that word. I'd like to jump in on that real quick. I love the movement towards more advanced statistics, and I think that they can work on a lot of levels. But with a sport like basketball, I feel like that right there is like the definition of why you can't go by advanced statistics, because how do you account for that guy, a guy getting hot? I mean, in basketball especially, guys just get hot sometimes, and you can't really account for that in such like a detailed and put that down to a real number, like with everything else, I think.
I mean, I think when I think the hot hand theory, I know they broke it down a lot more, but I just think of watching Steph Curry last year against New York in the Garden, and in the playoffs last year in the third quarter, he'd make, one or two shots, and it was just like free range to dribble the ball up the court and just let him fly. And it seemed like quite a bit he'd just make back-to-back shots where the net's not moving. So I mean, I think it exists to some degree, but not to a point where you can really, like you're saying, use the numbers in like a Moneyball type advantage where you can really. Well, if he makes a floater down the lane, then comes off the wing next time, we get him the ball right away, that there's a higher chance,
I'm with that totally.
I'm glad you mentioned Moneyball, because it's interesting that, what Brian said, basketball is a game where, numbers, they always say numbers never lie, and I always say that's true, but numbers don't always tell the whole truth.
Yep.
And it's, basketball is a game where numbers don't always tell the whole truth, but baseball is a game where it's so much built on, even before they knew they were doing it, it's all built on data. And I think that, in the new age of baseball is where these advanced statistics and analytics are really coming up huge in front office management and picking of players. And even though most people who probably, saw the movie Moneyball, didn't read the book, think it's kind of just what that movie is, and it's not. It's not just sitting at a computer and being like, well, this guy has a great on-base percentage. But, the book kind of delves into it deeper to where what you're looking for in stats and what you're looking for in numbers. And I kind of agree that basketball doesn't always tell the whole truth in their numbers. Because
you know what that book did forget to look at? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but they did forget to look at Barry Zito, Mark Mulder.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it.
Yeah,
it's not just numbers; it's talent.
Yeah, but baseball, I agree with you though. Baseball is more of an individual sport in the way that you can break everything down into numbers like that. But there's no basketball and football. You absolutely can't.
I think football's becoming more geared towards numbers. Honestly. I think the matchup. I think it's becoming not necessarily more one-on-one, but it can become more one-on-one than basketball can, because it's not necessarily relying on basketball's. If the shot goes in, that's great. But if a guy's shooting X amount behind the line, but it just doesn't go in, then the numbers are there, but the performance isn't. Whereas, I think in football the numbers are becoming, or at least the movement towards numbers are becoming a lot bigger. Well, I think basketball it won't become that way.
Basketball is much more of an improvised sport than baseball and football are.
That's part of it. There's no, in baseball there's stoppages between plays, in football there's stoppages between plays, in basketball there's not. A lot of it is on the go, on the fly. I think that's where it kind of breaks away from. Yeah, it's improvised.
It goes away from like the tendencies and stuff a lot more than say football or baseball. From the numbers.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that.
So I got a question, I guess, for all you guys. Say if I'm trying to think of an example. Say if Marco Bellinelli or maybe like a Danny Green is feeling it late in the game, third quarter-ish, hitting a few shots in a row, and we'll say it comes down to the fourth quarter, do you go with your number 3 or lesser option who's feeling it, or are you going to go to Tim Duncan or Tony Parker? What do you stick with the hot hand for someone that's maybe a average-ish player, or do you go to your number 1 guy regardless of how he's playing throughout the game?
I think especially in the NBA, it kind of depends. If you're just looking for points every possession, put it in your big person's hands, and definitely one option that he would have would be passing it to like a Marco Bellinelli, but not just design plays only for him. I think you have to kind of spread it around a little bit, ideally. I know a lot of teams just go, oh, I'm going to have LeBron James shoot 30 times in the fourth quarter, which if he's hot, that's a great thing. If not, he's either going to shoot a lot of free throws because he's going to the line every time he's missing, because that's also the NBA, or he might just shoot you out of the game, which LeBron doesn't really do that much, so that's probably a bad example. But there's definitely stars that do shoot teams out of games entirely, with kind of the opposite of the hot hand theory of just trying to shoot until you get hot, which that's something I don't really think we've talked about.
The J.R. Smith theory.
That's the J.R. Smith theory right there.
The debate about a third option or someone versus number 1 option just made me think about when Scottie Pippen refused to go back into the game when they were running a play for Kukoc, and he was going to be a decoy on that play. And I don't really remember watching that game or anything like that. I was pretty young, but I think if you run a design play for someone at the end of the game, like if it's a clutch situation and they've had a great game and all that, I feel like you're still susceptible to, as a coach, if he misses it, you think, why'd you run that play for him? I don't know. I think it's kind of just a catch-22 where if he makes it, it's like, all right, great, he's been hot the whole game. If he misses it, the coach can go, it's like, well, we're riding the hot hand. But when if you have someone on your team like LeBron and you're letting, Ray Allen shoot it, it's different because Ray Allen's like the clutchest player of all time, or one of them. But if it's like, if you got Derrick Rose or someone like that, and you run an option for, like Kirk Heinrich, I don't know. I would put the ball in the star player's hands, because I think in the NBA, like, star power matters more than any other sport. That's just my opinion.
I say, I think that you do try to run a play for that guy. Like, for instance, let's just pretend we're in Game 5 of the series is tied 2-2. Game 5, Thunder versus Spurs of the Western Conference Finals. And say Reggie Jackson's been having a pretty good game off the bench. He's got like 21, and like 10 of those came in the third quarter alone. I say you do run plays for him, but you don't really make that the focal point of your offense. It's more of like you let Durant make the ultimate decision there, although knowing them, they would probably let Westbrook make the ultimate decision, which just boggles my mind. But you don't get out of your offense. It's basically what I'm trying to say is don't get out of your offense to appease the hot hand. But I think that you should definitely try. Hell, in that situation, I think you got to try anything you possibly can to win.
It's interesting. It's interesting you bring up Spurs versus Thunder, because in the 2012 Western Conference Finals, I think Game 5 in San Antonio in the fourth quarter, James Harden was the hot hand, and they let it go through James Harden in the fourth quarter. Obviously, it didn't come down to like a game-winning shot, but they kind of ran the offense through him, which wasn't an unusual thing for the Thunder to do that year, was have the offense kind of run through James Harden when Westbrook was on the bench, because they didn't let Derek Fisher run the points. They just kind of let it run through Harden. So I agree. If you're going to – I say stick with your offense, and if the offense is designed to get it into a certain player's hands and that guy's hot, go for it. But, I don't think you don't get away from what you're doing just because a guy's having a great night. The guy's probably having a great night because of the design of the offense anyway. So I kind of agree with your point that you stick with what got you there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's a lot of upsets this weekend. Upset Saturday, really, in college basketball. A few notables. Kansas lost to Oklahoma State. The Marcus Smart-led Oklahoma State Cowboys. Illinois took down Michigan State, the floundering Michigan State Spartans. And Ryan, your boy, Doug McDermott, lost to Xavier after kind of getting that spotlight got a little bit bright on him, and they lost the game.
You know what?
That completely kills the spotlight. So let's get into that.
The one time I need Creighton to kind of win a game, they go ahead and lose it because Xavier gets on the bubble now. The bubble is getting very crowded.
Did Xavier lose tonight though? While we're recording this,
I'm not sure, but all I need to know is that I was not rooting against Creighton necessarily on Saturday. Kind of wanted them to pull that one out, but
well, does this kind of
what it is?
Does this kind of put an all work stoppage on the Doug McDermott's about to lead Creighton to the Final Four talk that's been kind of secretly going on?
I don't know. I think he still played pretty well. I mean, yeah, I think he had 27.
Yeah.
And not to equate him to like Kevin Love, I think he obviously matters a lot more to his team. That team, Creighton's not anywhere near what they are without him. But he somewhat had, I guess, an empty game by scoring 27. It didn't really matter. But I still think they have the same potential. And then when that team gets hot from three, like they did against Villanova earlier this year, they have national championship type potential.
That's the thing.
Wow.
They're going to need guys like
hashtag Brad's bold.
Don't get fired.
Brad's bold.
boast. Prediction
boast.
And move on.
Nailed it. Hashtag Brad's bold boast. Say that 5 times fast. I dare you right now. Everybody try it. Brad's bold boast. Brad's bold. All right, I'll stop.
Yeah, that's a stop.
Valuable
time.
Wait.
I'd like to see one of you MFers try it. Go ahead. I dare you.
Brad's bold boast. Brad's bold boast.
Nailed it.
I think with this year, I think it's kind of hard to put some teams like consistently in the upper echelon of college basketball. Like you have Florida, who's been playing real well lately, but even with like Syracuse and Duke, I mean, I guess they're playing some better competition, so losses are going to come. But it's kind of hard to put like a top 5 or a top 4 that I could completely be satisfied with and know that these teams are going to make it. I mean, obviously they're the favorites: Duke, Florida, Wichita State, maybe like Kansas. But so many. I mean, it's been fluctuating a lot this year, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the tournament. Who comes out?
That's a good point by Josh. That there's not really 5 teams that you can say these teams are going to have deep runs in the tournament and do what they're supposed to do, because there's just so much parity in college basketball now, and especially this year, that really there's a number of teams that can make deep runs, and that's good and bad. You kind of want to have the mainstays there, but at the same time, it's fun to see, teams like Wichita State get in there and make some noise like last year. What they do this year, that remains to be seen. Getting back to Creighton, I don't know if it takes away from Doug McDermott at all. I think what needs to happen for Creighton in the tournament is they definitely need Ethan Wragge, Grant Gibbs to step up. Those guys are going to be integral parts of any tournament run Creighton's going to have. If those guys are quiet in the tournament, it's going to be tough to get to the Sweet 16, I think, for them. I don't know. They rely so much on scoring. Just scoring high volumes of points to get their wins, that if they run into a team that can shut them down, it just might be too much to overcome. For Kansas, they lost and they still keep their 1 seed going into projected going into the tournament, so it's not a huge thing for them. And then who was the Michigan State? Big Ten basketball is just so. It's not. I don't want to say deep because that's just so.
It's a bloodbath.
It's a tough conference to play in.
It's a tough conference, but at the same time, there's no solid team at the top. There's no terrible teams, but there's no great teams.
Are we certain that Purdue's not a terrible team?
Purdue's mediocre at best. They show up some nights, and then other nights there's just nothing there. But the Big Ten just there's no solid team. Michigan State.
Is Wisconsin the best team in the Big Ten?
I still think it's Michigan.
It's hard to argue with Michigan right now. But
Yeah.
Iowa beat them by 20, so what does that mean?
I think it's Michigan.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Wisconsin had a bad. I mean, and I'm not just saying this to be a homer, but I mean, are they the best team in the Big Ten right now?
Legitimately, it's
second best.
It's up in the air.
I think it goes Michigan, Wisconsin, Michigan State, and then Ohio State, and then
just
Iowa, Nebraska are neck and neck. They're kind of right there.
Get the fuck out of here.
They are.
Neck and neck, dude. You won.
They're
like,
literally tied in the conference standings right now.
I was just getting all the losses out of the way before the postseason.
You can't
It's
even
smart,
say
really.
that
It's
Nebraska
smart.
is just lucking their way up there.
No, but they are. I'm
No,
not
they're
saying
not.
Iowa has played like absolute
No, they're
dog
not.
shit these past 2 weeks, really. There's no denying that. I've watched the game.
And Nebraska's played
It's hard
great.
to do.
You can't.
But
so you
Nebraska
can't
is
say that
nowhere
Nebraska
near as
played
good
great.
as a team as Iowa is the thing. They
No,
don't have.
No, they're not. They don't. The talent-wise, no, but you can say they're just as good.
No, you can't. The talent
Yes, you
isn't as
can.
good, and they aren't gonna.
No,
no.
All right, right now, real quick, go around. That was fabulous. Right now, real quick, who's better? Who's a better team right now? Nebraska or Iowa?
Start it off, Batty.
Iowa. One-word answer.
Iowa. Iowa for me. OG?
I guess Iowa.
Iowa has more potential. I'll give them that.
And
I mean, I get what you're saying, but you can't. This is Nebraska's, and you know, like you said,
Notice I didn't say that Iowa and Nebraska is better than Iowa. I said they are neck and neck.
I understand what you're saying.
5-6.
Okay, I mean that's it's crazy to say that Nebraska is the fifth best team in the Big Ten.
Nebraska is a week 2 wins away, and I think like 1 loss from Iowa away from getting a bye in the first round of the Big Ten tournament. That doesn't happen by luck. You have to have some talent.
All right, I can see what you're
They
saying.
have some talent. I'm not saying they're a garbage team, but I think it's not. They're not on the same level as Iowa. I mean, you can look at the conference standings, and neck and neck to me
That's
is
not
like.
necessarily what I'm referencing, but I'm just saying they are literally neck and neck in the standings. But I think yes, Iowa is a more talented team, but they're not playing up to their potential. Nebraska is playing up to their potential.
They're
and that
playing
happens
over
to be
their
at the
potential.
Yes, and that happens to be at the level that Iowa is currently playing. If Iowa picks up the pace and plays to their potential, they are better than Nebraska. But right now, they're really not. So it's
Just getting all the losses out of the way, man. Just getting them all out before the postseason.
Hey, go for it. But
This should be a fun Big Ten tournament around here. I can't wait.
Just remember, Nebraska was picked to finish last in the Big Ten, and they will finish no worse than 6th.
And Auburn was picked to not do shit in football either. Those preseason things don't mean anything.
Just real quick, before we wrap this, this was absolutely wonderful and the most entertained I've been in a long time. What do you guys think? Now, I know Oklahoma State's a good team, and Marcus Smart was kind of having his, like, I'm back moment. But does this, I mean, is this...
1 second.
Oh, go ahead.
He pushed it into another gear this weekend.
Yes! There it is. There it is.
Crappy jokes.
Chris's crappy jokes. Well, no.
You want an alliteration, though? I got an alliteration for you if you want an alliteration.
Yeah, give me it. What do you got? Chris's
crappy comedy.
Oh, there it is. I love it. The triple C's.
We're out of control. We're
a serious question, though. Do you think this loss by Kansas is kind of like a microcosm of what they're looking like, what their future is going to be in the second round of the tournament, or are they okay?
They're okay, I think. Oklahoma State played above their heads on Saturday night. I think the win kind of keeps them in the tournament because they were on that last 4 in, next 4 out line, and I think that gives them enough of a jump to get them in. What Oklahoma State's going to do in the tournament remains to be seen, but I think Kansas is fine. Brad just pointed out Kansas statistically has had the toughest schedule of all time, and
that's really hard to say.
Yeah, it is, but they did play a tough schedule. You got to give them that.
Yeah, absolutely. Big 12 is good.
The Big 12 is a really good league. If it's not the best league, it's the second best. just behind the Big Ten by a small margin.
ACC.
The ACC is not top to bottom deep as some of these.
It's a gigantic conference too.
The Big 12 that's the problem. The Big 12 is 10 teams, the Big 12 is 10 teams. So
and
that
it goes like six. It goes like 6 deep of like high quality too.
So as far as what Kansas will be fine. They'll do what they do. They'll choke in the Elite Eight, and they'll have another year like that. Mario Chalmers can't save them every year.
What do you guys think? Everybody else, quickly.
I think Joel Embiid's back's going to play a huge role for them because when he went out was when Oklahoma State started Marcus Smart started pushing the ball and started pushing the game. But I think it's smart for them to keep him out the last 2 games. When he's in the game, he's a total game changer. There's a Hakeem Olajuwon comparisons. He's a 7'1" center who's mobile. He just impacts the entire game on both ends of the floor. So his health really is going to depend on how far they go.
Josh?
Yeah, I agree with that, the injury status. I don't know. I just think it's hard for me to pick a few teams to be solidly set in like the Final Four, Elite Eight. But I think they'll be up there. I think Kansas is one of the better teams in the nation, and I think they'll be good coming around March.
March is going to be fun.
This tournament is going to be. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
This has been. This is kind of right around where I start like really digging into college basketball, like this last month and then this month, because this is where the NBA is kind of on that little bit. Okay, everybody's kind of getting ready to go for the stretch run, but right now it's kind of like that lull. And there's obviously nothing going on anywhere else in sports. So this is where college basketball starts getting, like, down to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
Chris, what did you think about Kansas, real quick?
I want to say that they're going to go far in the tournament, but at the same time, relying only on, or not only, but primarily on freshmen and having the back issue, I kind of, for some reason, feel like they might get upset in the either Sweet 16 or Elite 8 by maybe somebody gets hot like Marcus Smart did in the second half, and they can't overcome that potentially.
Wiggins needs to have a big tournament.
Yeah, Wiggins has to have a big tournament for them to win it all, I think.
If he's their best player for 5 games in a row, I think that they'll do well. Like, he's got to be their best player.
Not been their best player for 5 games in a row at any point this season.
Right, exactly. And that's the problem. That's why I think he should stay in school, but he's totally not going to, and I don't blame him at all.
I wish he would stay in school. I don't blame him for leaving either, but I wish these players would take, 2. I wish that they'd go to a 2-year system. You have to stay in school 2 years because I think it would help both games out tremendously. I think college basketball and the NBA would be better for it.
Everyone would be better for that besides the players.
Yeah,
wallets.
that's the problem.
That's the only people that wouldn't.
I hope there's some sort of incentive for them staying that can happen, because I think it just benefit both tremendously. I had one more point on college basketball, then we can go ahead and move on. In the midst of arguing about some middle-of-the-road Big Ten basketball teams, I forgot to give a shout-out to Virginia winning its first outright ACC regular season title since 1981. Who would have thought Virginia would win the ACC regular season title at the start of the year?
Shout out Ralph Sampson.
Yeah, I was about to say.
They are a great team.
The biggest upset of all time happened in that season.
They'll make some noise in March. They just play some great defense, and they just have a great core of guys. And that really is something that I think gets underlooked in March, is just having a group of guys that are comfortable with each other and go into the tournament confident as hell, and I think that's what gives Virginia a leg up on some other teams.
Doesn't Wisconsin have a big W against Virginia this year? 2 of the best teams in the country, Wisconsin's got W.
Give Wisconsin some credit. They play great non-con every year.
They do.
You go out and look at teams like Indiana. They played nobody, and they're getting crushed for it. They're going to miss the tournament because of it. And Wisconsin consistently goes out and plays not only big non-con opponents, they play them on the road. They play them in season. They play them in tournaments. Give a lot of credit to Wisconsin basketball. They go out and do what needs to, and then they go out and dominate the Big Ten.
Who was the dumbass that said Indiana was going to make a deep tournament run? Does anyone remember? Did someone on the podcast say that?
Yes, that was you.
Oh, okay. keeping it real with the fans.
I don't even. Who the hell did I say? Oh, I said Creighton. I guess that Iowa didn't really go out on a big limb there.
To be fair, I think that was the night Indiana got beat by Nebraska, though. So you may. They weren't.
When they weren't on the teams like Nebraska, I mean,
they weren't falling off like that.
Dude, you know what I really am most excited for about March Madness this year, though, is so we can stop talking Nebraska ball, because after that's over, we won't ever have to hear about them again.
You mean after that first tournament win, and then there's a trip to the Elite Eight eventually?
Wow.
When March Madness wraps up.
Put your rep on the line about it right now. Right now, put your rep on the line.
No.
Right now. Does Nebraska win a tournament game this year?
This year?
Your rep on the line.
I don't even think they get in the tournament.
Okay. That's fair. All right. Moving on.
They have to split this week, and I don't think they do. I think they
moving on.
I'm done.
Moving on. Is everyone ready to move on? All right.
Yes.
Who you got? Let's go over the records real quick.
How about not?
After the full week, Josh, you had a rough week. The standings look as follows. We got me, Brad, let's go bottom to top. Bottom, Ryan, you're at 11 and 15, bud. You're the only one under 500. Next up, Chris, you're at 500. You're at 13 and 13. And then me, Brad, and Josh are all sitting at 14 and 2. And new Chris on the block, who hasn't been around, he's dominating all of us. He's sitting at 15 and 11. So we will have to change that.
I'm waiting to have to stop picking NBA games for my record to pick up.
Well, get used to it, kiddo. All right, first game, Iowa at Michigan. How the hell do we pick an Iowa game? Literally every single time.
The only top 25 matchup.
Unbelievable. Iowa at Michigan State. Who wants to go first? Because I'm not doing it.
I will go. Man.
Come on, don't let your
my heart's saying one thing, my head's saying another.
Isn't that a Katy Perry song?
I think it was the Beatles, maybe.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Who'd you say?
I got Iowa. I can't not go for Iowa.
That makes sense. I can respect that.
Jump
in. Just jump. We're doing it just to jump in tonight.
All right. I'll take Sparty. It's a real toss-up. It depends on how Iowa comes. It depends on how both teams come to play. I know it's stupid to say, but it really is. They're both.
Depends on who scores more. I don't know.
Yeah, I know it's a stupid thing to say, but Michigan State's reeling, and Iowa needs to get back on track.
Deep analysis coming from the state of Nebraska tonight.
It is.
Michigan State's winning. Mark me down.
You are marked down, sir.
Yes, I want the winner in Michigan.
OG.
I guess I'll go with Iowa.
Wow. I'm going to go with... Jesus Christ. And this is Thursday, right?
Yes.
I'm going to go Michigan State. All right. Memphis at Cincinnati. The All-American. What is this conference called? Big America?
Just the
American, not Big America. I don't know why.
Wild America? Great movie.
Wild America. America the Beautiful. Memphis at Cincy. I'm going to go Cincinnati. I actually kind of like this. I weirdly like this Cincinnati team.
Yeah, give me Natty as well.
Make it 3.
I'll take Cincy as well.
Switch it up, Chris.
Come on, OG.
Switch it up. Don't be a pussy. Don't be a pussy. Switch it up.
I don't trust Memphis out of the state of Tennessee is the problem.
That makes sense. I don't really either. I have a friend who's a huge Memphis fan, and we've been giving him.
Memphis fan?
I don't know what the hell's wrong with him, but we've been giving him shit for forever about it. And
does that include their football team, which is absolutely horrendous?
No, he's just like Memphis basketball. That's
so he's pretty much a bandwagoner.
Like if he could only pick one of his sports teams to watch the rest of his life, he'd probably pick Memphis basketball. It's weird. He bootlegs him on his laptop. I don't know. It's weird. Anyways, OG, go ahead. Memphis?
Yeah, Memphis.
Oh, he did it! What? Whoa! Who do you want?
I want Cincinnati.
Hey, you know what?
wrote that down. I thought I already picked that before we got into the Memphis basketball thing.
I don't know. I don't know.
The Jedi mind trick.
Oh yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, the Jedi mind trick there.
Golden State at Indiana.
Oh, Indiana for sure.
Yeah, give me Indiana for Josh too.
Are you Josh?
I am Josh.
That's weird.
Or are you picking for somebody else?
I thought you were Falcon.
What do you got, Ryan?
Thanks.
Is it? Did you call me? Did you call my name?
Bro, no. Both you guys.
Which one?
Just fucking
I want to know who else's pick before I do my pick.
I'm going to Indianapolis. I'm going to the Indianapolis Pacers.
That's not even a team.
I don't care what you have to say.
I've got Golden State. I want to be the last one, be the only one going Golden State, and you guys.
I wanted to troll it and be the only one going Golden State as well. I wanted to be the only one going Golden.
Wow, you guys are so cool.
Yeah.
Hashtag
all right. Thunder at Brad's Phoenix Suns. Brad, I'm going to let you pick this one first, buddy.
I mean, at Phoenix, I don't know. Give me Thunder. Give me the Thunder. I think Suns are going to start losing some games here.
Bledsoe's coming back eventually, though. He should come back within a week or so.
Everyone's saying that.
The Suns losing games was my pick, like, from the All-Star special.
And they just haven't.
And they haven't at all. Goran Dragic, like, heard me,
and
he's been saying, like, oh, okay,
big time.
I'm going to be, like, the third best player in the league right now. Like, that's all he's been doing. It's insane. That being said, I'm going to go Thunder.
Thunder the F up. Oklahoma City.
And also, Thunder's been losing some weird games lately, too. By the way.
They've been getting back on track, though. I think they.
Is this game? This was Thursday, right? Is this on?
This is TNT.
Oh, and Heat Spurs?
Yeah, that's a doubleheader.
Whoa! Whoa!
Actually, a good Thursday night slate last week.
Hey, I'll see y'all in front of the TV on Thursday night. Go ahead, guys. I'm sorry.
Give me the Thunder. Russell Westbrook coming back.
What a big Thursday. Thank God. I hope Barkley's back.
OKC wins for Josh.
Ryan, this time I will actually pick against everybody. I'll go with Phoenix.
Oh!
Checks.
Oh!
Not a bad pick. I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, we got one last game here.
Wait, Ryan, did you pick?
Yeah, I said Thunder up.
Okay.
We got one last game. Miami and San Antonio.
The rematch.
Brian's boy LeBron.
Nah.
Who dropped 61 tonight.
That ain't my boy.
Shot 22 of 33.
That ain't nobody's boy.
Who's everybody got? I got Miami. I'm a LeBron homer. It's no secret. I think San Antonio might rest some people, although they're starting to get like Kawhi Leonard's back and stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised if they sat some people.
Did they play on Wednesday?
No, this is Thursday as well.
Does San Antonio as a team?
Oh, I have no idea. I would imagine not.
I'm going to take Spurs at home, beating Heat. Tony Parker back, Kiwi back. They bout the ball.
LeBron's making that MVP push though. National TV. Just watch.
That's true.
Yeah, there's my pick. I'm going Heat.
That was exactly what I was going to say. Was LeBron's probably going to have like an insane week now.
Yep, I'm going Heat.
I'm going to take the Spurs, just because. No real reason why, just because.
You want to be part of the winning team.
All right. Well, that was that. That was in the latest edition of the Are We Recording podcast. As usual, follow us on Twitter at AWR Podcast, and check out our website, arewerecording.wordpress. Are we recording blog? I'm sorry. Let me start that over. arewerecordingblog.wordpress.com. A lot of good stuff coming up. I'm going to have a few articles up. Chris, I believe you got something coming this week as well, right?
Yeah, something on Wichita State, actually.
Okay, so be sure to be on the lookout for that. And as usual, go Cubs.